Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Shadow Stitch, and I like solo running Pokemon Black and White. So last week we took on the game with Zoroark. I thought it was a really fun run. We got to showcase some really weird stuff with Illusion, some AI gimmicks and stuff like that. And overall, I thought it was a really cool run. So go check that out if you haven't already. But this week we're going to be taking on the game with Reuniclus. So Reuniclus is a really cool Pokemon. I really like its design. It's just like a big bowl of jello with a bunch of stuff floating in it. Yeah, it's just awesome. So yeah, this is also going to be our first really slow Pokemon, our first Psychic type, and our first dedicated special attacker. So a lot of firsts in this one for sure. And I think Reuniclus is going to be a really good showcase of all of those, and I don't think it's going to do too bad. So like I said, it does have 30 base speed, but has really solid bulk at 110 HP, 75 defense, and 85 special defense. So 65 attack is not amazing, but who cares when we have an absolutely monstrous 125 base special attack that we're pretty much going to be using throughout the entire run, so that's cool. We're going with the Magic Guard ability this time around. This is going to block all damage from non-direct sources, so think of things like status effects, toxic and burn and stuff. Weather like sandstorm, none of that is going to really matter for us, which is really cool. Its TM moveset isn't super deep, but we got things like Focus Blast, Thunder, Shadow Ball, so it at least has a little bit of coverage, which is really nice. However, its level up moveset is really nice for a Psychic type. We have two pretty strong Psychic type moves in Psyshock and Psychic. We got Recover, we got Screens, and we even learn Hidden Power by level up, which is pretty big because normally Hidden Power is very difficult to obtain in this game before the league. So anyway, of course we do evolve up, so let's take a quick look at Solosis. So Solosis is actually pretty much about the same. We're not as bulky, we're a little slower as well, but we have an incredible 105 base special attack for a base Pokemon, which is really cool. Same Magic Art ability, however, we do start with Psywave and Reflect. Not fantastic. We do get Rollout relatively early at level 7, which is nice, at least gives us something to hit Dark types. But our main goal is going to be getting to level 14 so we can get Hidden Power as soon as possible and actually start using our good special attack. So throughout the rest of it, we're going to learn Recover, we're going to learn Psyshock, and then we're going to get to level 32 and evolve into Duosion. Now, Duosion is also really solid. It's pretty bulky. It can take hits really well, especially with Eviolite, and it actually has the same special attack as Reuniclus, sitting at 125. So nothing too crazy here with this guy, but he's not going to be a bad middle stage evolution. We learned Psychic at 39 right before we evolve into Reuniclus at 41. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this one. I think that this is going to be a really good showcase of a strong Psychic type, and it's going to give us some experience with some slow Pokemon as well. So anyway, that is going to be it for right here. We're going to start our timer whenever we load up the save, and let's see how Reuniclus does. As always, we preload our starter into the run before we even take the Pokemon out of the box. This time we're going to be choosing Tepig, so we're not really going to have an advantage over either one of our rivals right here, but that's okay. Now, normally we have to skip past these battles, or we get to, but this time we're going to be looking at how awful Psywave is. So Psywave does a random number of damage from 1 to 1.5 times our level. And yeah, it is so bad because it also has an 80% accuracy. We actually get down to 1 HP on Bianca. This move is absolute garbage, and I am not looking forward to this being our only move for a little while. So Sharon thankfully isn't nearly as bad. I think we just get slightly better luck. Now, these two rival battles, they do have AI that will let them throw, but they're not guaranteed to throw. They can knock you out, and I did actually take a few resets to these first 2 rival battles here. Now, normally if I take a reset that early, I'm just going to restart the whole run. You know, I'm not going to, like, save and stuff like that, but it's kind of crazy that this is the first Pokemon that I have actually struggled against the very first 2 rival battles of the entire game. Not boding super well for this early game right here, but thankfully nothing's going to be too much of an hassle. As soon as we get to level 7, we're going to do a little bit of extra training on this route. We also have the medium slow growth rate, which is arguably the best growth rate for solo challenges, because we level up very quickly early on, and we're definitely going to need that. So N isn't going to be too much of an issue now that we have rollout. We can actually hit the dark types, and then we can move on to the next route. I want to do a little bit of extra training here before we battle our first mandatory trainer on this route. We want to get to level 9. He does have a Patrat, and being able to get to level 9, fully healing ourselves, of course, we will actually be able to outspeed that. Now, his Patrat here actually has Bite, so add on top of the flinch chance, hitting us super effectively for a lot of damage. That can definitely rack up, and especially whenever we're trying to use rollout, breaking our chain is not good. But thankfully for us, gaining a little bit of extra experience, we're not going to have too much trouble, and neither one of the other trainers are as well, and neither is Bianca. So let's go ahead and move on to Striaton. In Striaton, we can head over here to grab a nice free Dusk Ball from the dude in the back alley, and then head into the Dream Yard. So I was actually a little bit worried about the Dream Yard right here. This girl does have 2 Purloins, and they like to spam growls, but thankfully Solosis can just rack up a lot of damage with rollout and just easily plow through them. Even though we do miss a couple times, it does eventually rack up to enough damage, and we're good. The second youngster has 3 Pokemon. Both of his Patrats do have Bite, and thankfully we're able to get through him fairly easily as well and grab our monkeys, so then we can go battle Sharon in the schoolyard. After topping ourselves off, we can go ahead and take Sharon out. He is definitely under-leveled compared to us, but all we really need is his experience, because he gives good experience. So one more little rollout chain is going to do it, and there we go. Sharon is down and taken care of. Now, normally I don't showcase these little battles, but you know, it's just with a Pokemon like this that is actually struggling early on, I think that it is kind of fair. And once we get to that level 14, which we should in the gym here, we can have our way with the game once we actually learn a good special attacking move. So however, we do have to get through a couple gym trainers, and yes, I am dropping a save right here because this guy can be a problem. He has a single Lillipup, but that Lillipup does know Bite, and we are going to be relying on rollout. So thankfully he doesn't really do anything, but one rollout comes out, and we break the chain. Unfortunately, we miss a couple, and there we go. However, I'm able to actually showcase a really interesting mechanic, and as you saw there, Pickup activated. Now, Pickup actually had a in-battle effect added to it in this game, which is very cool. So if I'm holding a consumable item like that Oranberry that I have, the Pickup Pokemon, if it is not holding an item itself, can take that berry once I use it and have it for themselves. Very interesting mechanic, and thanks to rollout being awful and a couple flinches from Bite, we actually end up taking 2 resets from this guy, which is kind of crazy. So the early game of this game is so painful with this Pokemon that I just said screw it, I'm gonna take these 2 resets and I'm gonna move on with my life. So thankfully the third time's the charm here, as doesn't flinch us. We're able to build up a nice rollout chain and we can make it happen. And thankfully, the second battle with the waitress isn't too bad, and we actually get to level 14 and learn Hidden Power. So let's go ahead and finally take on the gym badge with a good special move. Alright, it's time to take on Cress, and we now have Hidden Power. and it is going to be Hidden Power Fighting. So with that, it's going to easily drop the Lillipup, easily two-shot the Pinpour. We're not going to be taking too much damage at all, thankfully. And there we go, easy gem badge, so nice now that we actually have a good special attack. So now that we got our first gym badge, I think it's time for us to go ahead and touch on Hidden Power. So Hidden Power is a very interesting attack. In this generation, it is 70 base power max, and the power and typing is dependent on your IVs. Now, the individual values or IVs that I chose to go with in this game are very interesting. They allowed for us to get a Hidden Power Fighting at 70 base power, which is the strongest it can be, and then we can have a very low physical attack. Now, it didn't really impact too much the early game. Sure, it might have changed things a little bit against like some of the Patrats and stuff like that, but now that we have reached level 14, I didn't think it's going to be too much of a problem. And much later on, there are some things that can use our attack stat against us, so as low as possible is really nice. So yeah, not too bad. Hidden Power is going to be really our go-to move for a long time right here, as we take out a couple goons in the Dream Yard here, and then we can finally move on to Route 3. Over at the preschool, we actually need to touch on this nursery aide girl right here, because she does have our first run-in with another psychic type, and that's going to be a Munna. I'm going to go for a Psywave right here. It is awful, but I wasn't really wanting to rely on rollout, because Munnas do like to put us to sleep and stuff like that, and that just didn't seem to be the most feasible. But after we take her out, thankfully with no real issues, we're going to knock out all the preschoolers with the monkeys because they give decent experience, and then we're going to take on Sharon. Yeah, and thankfully Sharon is not much of a problem. Sure, he's closer to our level now, but we finally have a good special attack. Easy two-shot on that Oshawott. We even take a critical hit very comfortably, level up a little bit, and then one more for the Purloin is going to be really solid. We're going to chase the goons into the Wellspring Cave, also catch us a Roggenrola there for strength, which is really nice. None of the other trainers on Route 4 here, or Route 3 here, are going to be too much of a problem. We're also going to catch a Pidove here as our fly user this time around, because I just kind of forgot to get a Woobat in the cave, and then we can move on to Nacrene City. As we enter Nacrene City, Sharon's going to give us some Chesto Berries, which are definitely going to come in handy very, very soon against Lenora. But before any of that, we're going to head into Pinwheel Forest and battle this nurse trainer right here, which I usually like to battle. She is really nice because, she gives decent amount of experience with this Munna, but also she will heal our Pokemon fully. However, like I said, Munna really likes to put us to sleep. We get yawned, and we're going to get hit by a couple Psybeams. Unfortunately, we get hit by a critical hit Psybeam, and it's cutting it really close. We miss a Psywave, get brought to 1 HP, but thankfully Psywave comes in clutch, finally does a decent amount of damage, and we are able to take out this Munna. Holy crap, I did not expect a Munna to push us that far, but it is what it is. So thankfully we get fully healed after that battle. We're able to take out the rest of the trainers here in Pinwheel Forest for good experience. Also catch a Timpole while we're at it. So after all of that, we are reaching about level 20, and we can head towards the gym. Of course, right outside the gym, we have to do a quick battle with N. He has no issues whatsoever. We also deposited our full team, so we can go into this with only Solosis. I'm definitely expecting to have to do a little bit of grinding against Lenora. Of course, none of her gym trainers are going to cause too much trouble. We have a pretty strong fighting type move right now, coming off of a very solid special attack. So there aren't going to be too much of a problem, but Lenora might be a little bit of a different story. So we're going to skip right past all of the gym trainers and face off with the leader herself. Alright, so here we go with Lenora. So we are definitely going to want to set up a Reflect, try to take as little damage as possible. Unfortunately, though, we take a massive hit from a takedown before that. So we are able to knock out the Herdier, but the Watchog does have Crunch. It's going to easily finish us off. So we're going to just take that free experience that we got from the Herdier, Blackout, and try again. Alright, take 2 with Lenora. The strategy pretty much hasn't changed at all. Intimidate doesn't matter. We're going to set up a Reflect. Hidden Power, we take that takedown very comfortably. Level up to 23 as well, which is really nice. The Watchog goes for Hypnosis. I guess it didn't see the KO. She's going to heal it up. It's going to not bring it to full, so 1 more Hidden Power is going to knock that out. Even if she hit the Hypnosis, we had a Hell Chesto Berry thanks to Sharon, and that gives us our 2nd gym badge. Really solid. Was really expecting to have to be there for quite a while, you know, Blackout training against Lenora, but, you know, sometimes her AI just be like that. She's a little goofy sometimes, but, yeah, the Plasma Goons steal a skull for some reason, and then we can chase them into Pinwheel Forest. On our way through Pinwheel Forest, as you can imagine, none of the trainers going to be too much of a problem, but this youngster with his Venipede actually gets to show off our Magic Guard ability. As we see, we got poisoned, but we're not taking damage thanks to Magic Guard, which is really cool. So the follow-up timber is a little slow because we locked into rollouts, but that lets us get to level 24, and we get to learn Recover, which is really solid. So now we are able to heal ourselves in battle, which is really good, of course. We're going to battle a couple extra trainers here, so that's not too bad for experience. Get a couple berries that we don't really need, of course, from the Rangers, but then we can head out of the forest itself. However, before we leave the forest, we do have a couple trainers on the bridge area that I do like to knock out, because I do eventually come back here to grab a rare candy. But this also lets us get to level 25. We can learn Psyshock, which is really cool. Good riddance to roll out finally, thank God. And we're able to get that move. So Psyshock is a very interesting move. It's a 80 base power special psychic type attack. However, instead of hitting into the opponent's special defense, it actually hits into their physical defense. So not even special tanks will be able to wall us very effectively because we're able to hit into their physical defense now, which is really cool. So also, of course, gives us a really strong psychic type stab move for now, which is cool. So after we knock out these last few trainers, Mana right here is not going to be too much of a problem now that we are actually able to do decent damage to it, and we can move on to the Sky Arrow Bridge and Castalia City. I always love crossing the Sky Arrow Bridge. This place is just absolutely gorgeous, and especially when we see that Skyline come into play there. So, but we're going to head into Castalia City, do a couple errands. First off, of course, going to be grabbing the Eviolite in the skyscraper up on the north. This is going to give us a 1.5 time boost to our defenses as long as we're not fully evolved. And we are not going to be fully evolved for quite a while, so this is going to be our staple go-to held item. Then we're going to head out to Route 4. This is a permanent sandstorm area, but thanks to our Magic Guard ability, these fishermen over here, they give really solid experience with their basculins, so we're able to take them out and get a good chunk of experience. So with that, we can head back into the city and chase down all the Plasma Goons, and then head into the Bug-type gym. Now that we have a good strong stab move, none of the trainers in here are going to cause too much trouble. So we're actually going to knock all of them out, gain a decent amount of experience, get up to level 28. So quite the huge jump. That medium slow growth rate really coming in clutch for us. So we can go ahead and unlock the final door and take on Berg. So hopefully he'll be about the same. Alright, so his lead Whirlipede, of course, is weak to Psychic, so we're going to drop that easily with a Psyshock. Dwebble does have pretty good defense, and it is able to outspeed and hit us with a couple of feint attacks before we can take it out, unfortunately. But it did waste its healing item, so Levani is going to come in. It's going to hit a Razor Leaf, do a lot of damage, but then the follow-up Struggle Bug only brings us down to 5 HP. Struggle Bug is an awful move in this generation. If he chose to go for another Razor Leaf, that might have actually taken us out. But thankfully, we actually get that on the first try. I was actually a little bit worried about this battle because his Pokemon all have Struggle Bug, which lowers special attack guaranteed. So I really needed to finish that fight fast before any Struggle Bug started racking up. And thankfully, we only got hit with one, and we were able to finish the fight pretty quickly. So we're going to head up to Route 4 here. We do have to fight Bianca, but she's going to be no real issue whatsoever. Thankfully, even with a Mana on her team, we're able to easily take care of it with a strong Psyshock. So we can heal up at the Route 4 house and then take on Sharon. And yeah, Sharon's also really not going to be an issue. We are way over leveled at this point, thankfully. We're almost hitting level 30, which we should in this battle. Easy one-shots across the board. We are a little slow, which is definitely going to be a problem as it goes along. We do get hit by a sand attack, a little bit annoying because we take some more damage, but as long as we can recover up right here, and we should be good. So Psyshock's gonna come out, it's gonna miss, but hey, we got recover, we're not taking sand damage, and that's really solid. So this is just a nice little showcase of, you know, even if we get a little unlucky, we have the tools and the bulk to be able to live and come back. So we're going to do a little bit of extra training here and then head into Nimbasa City. After chasing off a few plasma goons into the amusement park, we get a bike, have a quick little chat with Bianca, and then we're going to head over to the Pokemon Center. Now, of course, we're not a physical attacker, so normally we pick up return here, but we're not going to worry about that today because, of course, we're not going to be using our physical attack anymore this entire run. So we're just going to go ahead and pick up the rest of our team, so we have all of our HM friends in the party already. Grab the HM for strength, do a little bit of Pokemon dress up, and then head over to Route 16. So Route 16 has a couple things going for us. First off, of course, behind this cut tree, we can grab a nice rare candy, but there's also a lot of experience-rich Pokemon on this route. And thankfully, after we battle the final biker, we do get enough experience to evolve into our second form, Duosian, which gives us a massive increase to our special attack and a decent increase to our bulk as well. So now that we have our evolution, we're going to head into the amusement park and have our date with End. Alright, so it's time for N. It does start off with a dark type, but of course we still have hidden power fighting. I just knew that this would come in clutch so much throughout the entire run. There's a lot of random dark types and of course a lot of normal types as well on these plasma teams. So the only one that's going to be a potential problem is the Sigilif. It does hit us with a critical hit air cutter, bringing us to a very nice 69 HP. But it's not even going to be close, and 2 Psyshocks is going to finish that off. So we're going to head into the gym. None of the trainers are going to be too much of an issue. Sure, they're all faster than us, but we can easily heal ourselves and do a ton of damage with a Psyshock. So that's going to be no issue, and we can face off with Elisa. Alright, so Elisa, she shouldn't be too much of an issue. We have a strong Psyshock, but I forgot to heal my PP with an Ether, and this is definitely something that I need to pay more attention to. Yeah, I'm out of Psyshocks. This should be a nice, quick, and easy battle, but because I have not saved for quite a while, I honestly don't even remember the last time I saved. I have to take an incredibly slow blackout here on this fight. I kind of fought against it. Maybe I could get down to struggle, but it would not have been good. I kind of just give up the ghost, and eventually we do black out to Elisa, have to come all the way back through the gym, and with our PP restored, let's go ahead and take 2. All right, take two with Elisa. I also noticed I didn't increase the reset counter. Sorry about that. I'm pretty sure I fix it later. But yeah, one Psyshock is easily gonna drop that Emolga. We don't need Pain Slit. We got Recover. We're good there. Emolga's gonna come out, Volt Switch again. Zebstrika, her strongest Pokemon, also drops to a Psyshock. And then last but not least is gonna be Emolga throwing out one more desperate Volt Switch. And there we go. 3 Psyshocks down, and we have our 4th gym badge. So yeah, a massive amount of time bled there, because that was a very slow blackout. But you know, sometimes even my follow-up runs have mistakes, and you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and head out and fight Sharon on Route 5. Alright, Sharon time, and yeah, this is probably his most annoying team just because he leads with the Liepard. Likes to fake out. It's going to hit us with a Pursuit down to a very nice 69. His Pinpour does not outspeed us this time, so we're easily able to drop that. Same with the Duat, and same with the Tranquil. So yeah, ironically enough, I don't think Sharon is going to be any trouble whatsoever for us through this entire run. I unironically think that Bianca might be more of an issue, just because she has a Pokemon that actually resists us. So we're going to beat up a couple toddlers, and then we can move on to Driftvale City. In Driftvale City, we can head into the cold storage and do a little bit of extra training, battling this youngster trainer right here. Now, this is something very interesting to mention. There are quite a few trainers here that have Pokemon like this Carablast that are not available to be seen by anywhere else outside of the wild, of course. We're going to grab a Rocky Helmet here and grab a PP up in the trash can as well right here. I did route in a few extra PP items. I'm not going to mention every single one of them, but I will bring up the PP ups when I see them, for sure. But we really want to make sure that we have 50 Pokemon seen before we leave this area, because Driftvale City is going to allow us to get the Shell Bell, which is going to be a really important item for us. But we have to hit 50 Pokemon seen, and that's why we're going to be battling a couple extra trainers, because like this guy with the Girder, it is decent amounts of experience, but also gives us another check marks ticked on that 50 Pokemon seen slot. So alright, so of course none of these workers, none of the plasma guys are going to be any trouble for us whatsoever, so let's go ahead and skip right ahead to the gym. None of Play's gym trainer is going to be any trouble, so hopefully neither is he. He does lead off with a Krokorok, which does outspeed and hit us with a Swagger. Not great, but, you know, at least he sends out the Palpitoad next. We're going to set up a Reflect just to try to waste a few turns. We immediately snap out of Confusion, thankfully, so we have a Reflect set up for the Excadrill. We're going to Psyshock once because we couldn't one-shot with the Hidden Power, and then with that extra damage, we easily shrug off any damage that we could have taken from that Excadrill with the Reflect, and then finish it off with another Hidden Power. So easy first-time Clay, very nice, you'll love to see it. However, on the way out of the city, we do get jumped by Bianca. And yeah, like I said, I think Bianca might actually be more of a hassle for us than Sharon in this run. And we're going to see now why. So, of course, none of her other Pokemon are going to be an issue. But then in comes the Musharna. We did take an accuracy drop early, so we do miss a Psyshock, which is not great. I need to recover. It yawned us, or it hit us with a Hypnosis, so we get put to sleep. And now it starts boosting its defense, which is not great for us, because our best attacking move is going to be hitting into the defense stats, thanks to Psyshock's unique effect. So after hitting ourselves in Confusion a few times, getting put to sleep more times, we just barely miss out on the KO, and she has 2 Hyper Potions, and we are almost out of PP, so not great. We missed another Psyshock thanks to that accuracy drop, and yeah, this is not looking great here. I am out of PP. I have to take our reset here to Bianca of all things, which is absolutely crazy. So we're gonna give it another shot, but yeah, we take a second reset to the same shenanigans with the Musharna. Absolutely wild. So hopefully third time's the charm. Alright, so third time's the charm, right? I did just now fix the reset I missed on Elisa as well. So we should be up to 6 right now. So we're going to Psyshock our way through the rest of this team. Leaf Grenado also gets another accuracy drop. You love to friggin' see it. Good lord. We are going to Psyshock, and all it does is go for Lucky Charm. Awesome. Psybeam, awesome. There we go. That's all we needed. You did not put us to sleep and not spam Defense Curl. Good lord. But thankfully, we are able to level up to 39, learn Psychic, so we have 2 really strong Psychic type moves right now, and we can finally move on to Chargestone Cave and Route 6. But before we do, we're going to battle one more Deerling right here and then head immediately back into Driftvale City because we have fulfilled the condition of seeing 50 unique Pokemon and we can get our Shell Bell, which is really nice. It's not going to come into play anytime soon, but it is going to be really useful and really important for us later. So let's move on to Chargestone. And at the end of the gauntlet, we can battle one more Watchog, get to level 41, and that's going to allow us to finally evolve into Reuniclus. So we have the special attack already, but now we have the bulk to match. No, we do not need Dizzy Punch. I think we're good. And with our final evolution, we can take on N, and he should be no issue whatsoever thanks to our new bulk and power. So Boldor, of course, does have Sturdy. It's always going to live 1 hit, but that's okay. We can easily just 2-shot that. Does nothing. Joltik, no problem whatsoever. And then his last 2 going to be the Steel types. But good thing we got that Hidden Power Fighting to easily knock those 2 out. Very nice. And we can move on to Mistralton. As we enter Mistralton, we can have a quick chat with Cedric and Skyla, and then chase Skyla off to the Celestial Tower. On the way to the Celestial Tower, we can pick up another PP up in the grass here right outside, and then go to the top of the tower and meet Skyla. On top of the tower, we can ring that bell, and this does give me an opportunity to say, hey, thank you guys so much for subscribing, and if you haven't already, please consider doing so. I do these solo challenges every week on Wednesdays, and I stream occasionally on the weekends whenever I feel up to it. So yeah, if you're interested in Pokemon Black and White content, I think that this is a really fun speed game to watch. You know, all the cringe YouTuber stuff saying like, hey, only like 90% of you are subscribed and all that fun stuff, and I would really appreciate it, not gonna lie. Funny internet number going up makes me feel good. So anyway, let's go ahead and run through this gym. We're gonna have no issues whatsoever, as you can imagine, and then it's gonna be time for Skyla. Alright, Skyla time. So she does lead off with a Swoobat, so it is a Psychic type, but we do have Psyshock. Her Swoobat does have Amnesia, so we definitely want to hit it on the physical side if we can, and then all that's left is her Unfezant, which is gonna easily drop to a Psychic, and last but not least is the Swanna, which is of course going to drop to yet another. So you do see that we're taking a lot more damage in these fights, but we're easily able to get the one-shots thanks to our boosted special attack, which is really nice. So alright, Skyla, no issue. Let's head over to Twist Mountain and meet up with Sharon. Yep, and at best, Sharon is a mild annoyance. Sure, he has Unfezant that can potentially flinch us. He's got this Liepard, which is going to fake out and do a decent amount of damage with an Assurance, but other than that, he really doesn't have anything going for him. So Flame Burst does good damage. Once again, we're taking a lot of damage in these fights, but we got the bulk and we got the tools to make it happen. And then Psychic is going to easily knock out the Duat there. So no issues whatsoever from Sharon, as we see Alder show off his bionic legs and give us the HM for Surf, and we can move on through the Twist Mountain. Behind this worker that pops out of the dirt, we have one more PP up, so that's going to be really nice for us. We are going to be dumping these PP ups into Psychic. Psychic is a really powerful move, but it only has 10 PP, so it was really interesting for me to learn a lot of locations for good PP increasing items, and this was also wherein I learned good locations for the PP ups, which is pretty cool. So this doctor right here does have a couple psychic types, but it shouldn't be too much trouble at all for us now that we are fully evolved. Psychic is going to be a little slow knocking out this Musharna, but shout outs to a nice easy one shot there after the critical hit, and there we go. We get to heal up and make our way through the rest of the tunnel into Icarus City, and we're going to just immediately go to the gym and take on Bryson. All right, Bryson time. He is almost always just a complete joke. So we're going to Hidden Power, easily drop the Vanillish right there with our Expert Belt boost is actually a little bit stronger. Bear Tick does hang on, hits us with a Swagger, and Reuniclus does hit itself in Confusion, but that's okay. Icicle Crash is going to do a decent little chunk of damage, but we did easily snap out of Confusion during that whole process. And last but not least is going to be Cryogonal. Incredible special defense, but garbage defense, and we have Psyshock, so we're able to hit on that very weak defense and get our penultimate gym badge. Once again, Bryson is an absolute joke. And so are all the goons in Dragon Spiral Tower, but I do want to mention this Max Elixir right here. Very useful, as we can easily fully restore our PP right before this 4-way battle with a bunch of Plasma Goons. So we're going to go ahead and see N's fancy new dragon, and then chase them all down to the Desert Resort. Desert Resort has a couple things going for us, like this rare candy outside. We can grab the TM for Shadow Ball along with a good chunk of experience. There is actually one more PP up behind one of the last Plasma Goons, behind a Sand Trap, but we don't really need it. We've already spent 3 on Psychic up to this point, so we are pretty much good there, but definitely one to keep in mind for future runs. So of course, there's no real issues right here, so we're going to chase them out of the resort and then move on with the plot. Before backtracking to Nacream, we're going to go ahead and push a boulder out of the way on Route 2, grab a rare candy there, grab one across the pond on Route 3, do a little bit of talking in Nacream, and then one final rare candy at Pinwheel Forest before we could fly back to Icarus City and move on. But of course, on our way to Opelucid, we do get jumped by Bianca one final time, and now we have Shadow Ball. We have given up Psyshock, but we really needed that Shadow Ball. Superior is going to be able to live 1, and she's going to be able to full restore, but we get a higher roll on the following turn, which is really nice. Simipour is going to come out here, easily drop to another Psychic, and then Musharna, the Mon that gave us so much pain earlier in this run, is easily going to drop to 1 Expert Belt boosted Shadow Ball, so no issues there whatsoever, thankfully. So we can move on to Opelucid and our final gym. Alright, it's Drayden time. So Drayden is pretty decent for a final gym leader, but he does only have 3 Pokemon. His Fracture's just gonna drop very easily. Drudican just barely lives, hits a Night Slash. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're outspeeding some of these guys, but there we go. Easy drop right there. Haxorus, if the Drudican lived, it's a good chance the Haxorus is going to. Hits us with a really powerful Dragon Tail, and my rule is if I ever get phased out, I have to immediately switch back to Reuniclus, and that means that we take an Assurance on the switch and then another one on the following turn, so we do take another reset right here to Drayden. So yeah, that's really unfortunate. One more level would have been nice. Maybe I should have bumped a rare candy to get to level 55, try to hit a nice damage rounding threshold there to at least get the one shot on the Drudigan. As we're going to see, I just choose to go for a Shadow Ball into a Psychic and have to take another Night Slash. Maybe the Haxorus will play nicer this time. It just goes for a Dragon Dance. Thankfully, no.
No Dragon Tail this time, and because of that, we just waste a couple potions, and it tries to go for Dragon Tail one more time, and there we go. So only one reset, not too bad. We could just kind of chalk that first fight up to a little bit of bad luck and move on. So not too bad, and we can head out to Route 10 for our final fight with Sharon. Alright, Sharon time. So we did do a little bit of extra training on the routes, getting us to level 55, almost 56. So one Psychic is going to drop the Unpheasant. A Liepard comes out. It is not even going to waste our time with a Fake Out, but does hit a pretty solid damage with the Night Slash. I'm going to go ahead and recover here. I want to be nice and healthy to take on this Samurai. I do think that I'm going to have to two-shot it. So after taking a couple Aqua Tails, I'm going to hit it with a Psychic. And then last but not least is it going to be the Simisear. Does hit pretty hard with a Flame Burst, but one Psychic is going to be enough to knock it out. And there we go. Our final rival battle is taken care of. So on the way through Victory Road, we're going to battle a lot of the trainers here since they do give a really solid experience, and we want to be as high level as we can for at least one member of the league. So that's going to be really important. So there is no real issues in the league. We have plenty of strong coverage and all the moves that we need. So let's go ahead and see what the league themselves has to offer. Alright, Caitlin's up first. We got a Reuniclus versus Reuniclus mirror match right here. Of course, we have Expert Belt boosted Shadow Ball. We're going to fire it off, easily drop the Reuniclus. Get to level 60 as well, which is going to be super nice. Musharna is going to come out here. It is going to survive, hit a Shadow Ball of its own, which is definitely really annoying. One more Shadow Ball comes out, actually drops the special defense, so after she heals one more time, it's going to drop to another one from Bull. Sigil, if it's going to come out, hit a Shadow Ball of its own, but we do easily survive that and drop it with one of ours. Shadow Ball on the Gothitelle, it is a little bit bulkier, but all it does is go for Calm Mind, and then we just finish the fight very easily right there. Chantal's up next, and she could potentially be very scary. She does have the ghost typing, of course, so we're going to Shadow Ball the Cofagrigus. That's going to easily drop. Doesn't have the best special defense. Jellicent, I'm definitely think is going to take a hit, and I want to make sure I avoid Curse Body. It does on the Psychic, but thankfully we still have Shadow Ball, and we're able to do that. We barely hang on a Shadow Ball on the Chandelure and finish it off with one of our own, and all that's left is Golurk, and one more Expert Belt boosted Shadow Ball is going to finish that off. So definitely could have been really scary there if I chose to go for Shadow Ball on Jellicent and got Curse Bodied, but I played around it very nicely, and we can move on to Marshall. Alright, so Marshall time. On paper, this shouldn't be too much of an issue. He's fighting. I'm Psychic. I am going to drop the throw very easily with a Psychic move here. Mian Xiao comes out. It does have U-turn, but it just goes for Retaliate. And as you see, we are going to be holding the Shell Bell. We are going to be able to Psychic down the sock to its Sturdy, and while he is healing, heal up a decent amount of damage thanks to our Shell Bell coming in clutch. It does heal a percentage of the amount of damage dealt. So that's really nice. So just keeps us healthy throughout a run when we are a slower Pokemon. I think this is going to be one of the premier items that a lot of slower Pokemon are going to be using. So there we go. 3 down, only 1 left, but it is, of course, going to be the most problematic one, and that is going to be Grimsley. So before Grimsley, we're going to dump all of our rare candies, bringing us all the way up to level 68 over multiple damage rounding thresholds. Now, this is definitely the run that I put the most dedication and time into preparing for throughout the entire playthrough. So let's see how it goes. Scrafty leads, Hidden Power is going to come off. It does unfortunately live, but just hits a crunch. Thankfully, no Sand Attack this time around. So we're actually able to waste both of his Hyper Potions there, or Full Restores there. Crocodile comes out, Foul Play. Like I said, there are some things that use our attack, and that was the main one. Hidden Power on the Bisharp is easily going to knock it out. Last but not least is going to be the Liepard. Wastes our time a little bit. and hits us with an attract, but Reuniclus has no time for that, and there we go. So yeah, easy peasy. So I know that looked really easy, but that actually required quite a bit of preparation and planning. And with that, around 2 hours, we have completed the league and we can move on to the champion. But of course, Alder wasn't enough, so N summons his gigantic castle out of the ground somehow, and it is up to us to take him down because Alder couldn't. So yeah, not looking too shabby. I think that we should be okay here in these final fights right here. So let's go ahead and make our way through the castle, grab one more rare candy for good measure in N's room, and then it's going to be time for us to see his dragon bust through the wall and take on the man himself. By having a full party, we can deny catching the dragon and putting it into our party, so we can start off with Reuniclus against Zekrom. So Psychic's going to come out, do a significant amount of damage to the Zekrom. He's going to heal, so we're going to heal as well. So Psychic is going to come out. He does set up a light screen, definitely really annoying, but all it does is add a few more turns to the fight. So Recover is going to come out. We're going to keep ourselves healthy. Goes for Giga Impact. That's exactly what I wanted, especially because it procs our Rocky Helmet. We're holding the Rocky Helmet for this guy right here. We're going to Hidden Power, bring it down to Sturdy. Crunch is going to come out, proc the Rocky Helmet, and knock it out, which is really solid. Psychic is going to come out on the Archeops. It did get a defense drop with its Crunch, which is not great. Cling Clang isn't going to be too much of a problem. We're going to be able to heal up on it very nicely. It's going to drop our special defense with a metal sound as well, so we're getting our defenses dropped all over the place. Night Slash does massive damage from the Zoroark, and then last but not least is going to be the Vanillix. Actually hits a Blizzard, and thanks to all of the defense drops we gained, we actually take a reset there. So not great for sure. So we have to re-catch the dragon and all that fun stuff before we can take a second shot at N. Alright, so take 2 with N. We got the Zekrom. It's pretty much not going to be too much of a problem. We have plenty of bulk. We shrug off fusion bolts very easily. We can recover as it goes for Giga Impact, so that's fantastic for us because he's forced to recharge, cannot heal it, and we can finish it off. Caracosta comes out, same thing, Hidden Power comes off, Crunch knocks itself out with the Rocky Helmet. So Psychic is there. We don't get a defense drop this time, thankfully, on the Archeops, as it just brings us down to 69 HP. Flash Cannon, we easily live from the Cling Clang, and we're able to heal up. Very nice. Hidden Power comes out, but not before it hits us with a metal sound. So once again, our special defense is significantly weakened. Night Slash comes out, but thankfully Zoroark doesn't have that defense drop helping it out. Vanillux is last. It does hit the Blizzard. We live on 29 HP in the red, and we're able to finish it off with a single Hidden Power fighting. So yeah, definitely really sketchy right there for sure. Dropping our defenses and stuff was definitely a huge problem, but last but not least is going to be Getsus after he throws a little bit of a fit, so let's see what we can do. Alright, Cofagrigus, it has Toxic, it's a troll, but we have Magic Guard, so we don't care about that. So it's going to waste our time a little bit going for Protect, but one Shadow Ball is going to easily knock it out. Bisharp is up next. We do outspeed, hit it with a Hidden Power, and drop it. Electros is up next. Psychic does miss the KO, but because it hits us with Crunch, Rocky Helmet's going to knock it out. Same thing with the Bouffalant. It's going to Wild Charge, do recoil, hit itself with the Rocky Helmet, and now that we are past a lot of things, we're going to Hidden Power into the Hydreigon. It's really low, but we are as well, so we're going to have to recover as he heals. It's a little bit of slog here with this Hydreigon, going back and forth with healing and doing stuff like that, but it is what it is. So he's not really too much of a threat to us, especially because I know that Getsus likes to heal whenever it's low, so we're gonna knock that out after a little while. And last last but not least is going to be the Seismitoad. We get one more Psychic. It lives in the red, but it can't take us out. And there we go. We have beaten the game with our Reuniclus. We do stop the timer at the final input of end dialogue right before the credits. So we got a little bit of time here. So yeah, actually really solid run. I definitely thought that being slower would be a much bigger disadvantage, but thanks to the tools that we have, and I definitely think that we have a really good slow Pokemon. It definitely has the bulk to bolster against that, to help counteract the speed. Yeah, overall, there we go. We have a 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 16 seconds. So yeah, really solid. So let's go ahead and skip through the credits and see our final in-game time and wrap this thing up. Alright, and with a final in-game time of 5 hours and 6 minutes, Reuniclus has done it. It is a very solid Pokemon. Sure, we made a few mistakes in the run, but no run is ever going to be perfect. And I don't really think it was worth it for me to reset, especially with how much of a pain that early game was. Good lord. So yeah, definitely enjoyed this one. I think special attackers, have a decent advantage in this game, especially because Lenora doesn't shut them down as much, and all the intimidates, especially from Bianca and stuff like that. So definitely really looking forward to doing more special attackers, and we're going to be continuing that because next week we're going to be trying out Jellicent. So yeah, come back next week if you want to see that. This is also going to be our first ghost type. Probably my second favorite typing. Ghost is absolutely incredible. So anyway, though, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and come back next week to see the next run. So with that said, like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.